Well, we're coming out of the dark days of Christmas in terms of roster moves, trades, and waivers for the NHL here. Just now, less than, about 30 hours away from things kicking off here back into NHL action. Folks, this is Dolany TV. Good evening. Welcome aboard for today's Edmonton Oilers discussion after our World Juniors fun today. I think we'll sidetrack back to Edmonton Oilers stuff just because it seems like a hot market out there in World Juniors land in terms of illegal streams on YouTube. So we'll instead discuss this roster freeze coming up due here in the next little bit for every NHL team, because obviously, as we know, our Edmonton Oilers very interested in making a move for defense. And well, as it clock ticks towards January 1st, there's a couple of things on there that we need to be worried about. But first, if you're new to the channel, what I want you to do is consider hitting that subscribe button here on the channel today. Of course, today was a big push to get towards 10,000. We hit 9,700. We're at 9,705 as I record this video, and I believe we could definitely get somewhere coming very, very soon if this video does exactly what it's supposed to today. All right, my friends, huge trade coming for the Edmonton Oilers. Well, that was what we were told before the roster freeze. Now, suddenly this is what we're trying to tell ourselves after the roster freeze. I think, though common sense would have said the Oilers weren't going to make a big move prior to the roster freeze, just simply because the move was not there to be made yet. And obviously that being right is if the Oilers are truly looking to upgrade on defense. And that is, of course, where this huge trade rumor keeps coming in every single time, is the fact that the Oilers are looking to either trade for John, Joel, or of course Jakub. That's kind of the three J's that we've been pursuing here all season long. And of course you can now add in Gavrikov as well of the Columbus Blue Jackets, somebody we've also spoke of in the past little bit this season, right? John Klingberg, Joel Edmundson, or Jakub Chychrun. Those are the three players we speak heavily of every single week here in Edmonton Oilers trade rumors discussions. And today the reason we're discussing it is simply because we're coming out of the trade freeze, and what will end up happening here is a guy like John Klingberg, his status in terms of a trade at or near to the Edmonton Oilers changes on January 1st. That was first reported, I heard, of course, Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic discussed that in a video, I believe, last week or the week. No, it would have been 2 weeks ago prior to us going to see the Anaheim Ducks game. He's got a full no move clause right now. January 1st, the script flips a little bit there, and all of a sudden, John Klingberg becomes an available player for the Edmonton Oilers in the trade market, a lot more so than he was 2 weeks ago. That said, why am I sitting here talking, well, a huge trade is coming up now for the Oilers, as opposed to, well, if John Klingberg wasn't available, why wouldn't you still go out and trade for Jakub Chychrun? I believe for the Oilers, they are going to shop around, and the reason I make fun of this Joel, John, and Jakub situation, and now you add in Gavrikov, is the Oilers are going to shop around and try to see which price is lowest. Because I think for the Oilers, truly spoken, yes, Jakub Chychrun would trade the most, or change the most, not trade the most, but in terms of trade, he would also cost the most for the Oilers. That's the problem. Jakub Chychrun is the big fish. You follow that up with John Klingberg and Joel Edmundson, followed up by Gavrikov. Gavrikov literally fills the nastiness need, the big need on the blue line to be sizable. That's all he fills. Now, when you turn it around and look at the rest of the guys, they're game changers on the blue line. Whether guys like John Klingberg's defense, that's neither here nor there. He is a game changer on the blue line at the NHL level over the course of his career. Now, when it comes down to Jakub Chychrun, obviously what he does is completely change the game. He's a solid defenseman this year, plus he puts up points, which is what the Oilers blue line needs to be capable of doing for this team to have success throughout a season, is the blue line needs to pile up points as much as possible. So that's where that's a big fish to get. But then you got Joel Edmundson, who is that steady Eddie, stay-at-home, shut-it-down defenseman that the Oilers kind of need to platoon off Darnell Nurse's minutes a little bit. And that's said, too, for Gavrikov as well. So that's where it's kind of, right, there's tiers to this. You kind of have your top-tier guy, your middle two-tier guys, and then Gavrikov down at the bottom. Not that there's much separation between the bottom three guys. The separation realistically is between, of course, I guess what you'd say, Klingberg, and then going up to Jakub Chychrun would be your separation in between those two guys. So that's where for the Oilers you look forward to seeing what happens. And obviously the big trade freeze kind of throws it into a situation. But for Ken Holland, right, you come out of that. Now you start pitting teams against teams, right? Well, I can get Klingberg for this. You're telling me it's going to cost me this for Chychrun? I don't think so, right? And that's where, I mean, the Oilers may very well look to shop around. They've got 4 defensemen that they have very well keyed in on from the start of the season to now in terms of the 4 guys we continue to mention in this video. And for the Oilers, right, I don't think the Oilers can go wrong trading for any single one of these guys. I think if you trade for Klingberg, you're getting cap relief because you're probably trading Puljujarvi plus Barrie and trading it out. Or heck, maybe you are trading Bouchard because you're getting something else in the package. I don't know. But when it comes to salary in, salary out, it's either Puljujarvi plus Barrie or it's Puljujarvi and that's it. And you're going lateral move for just player in, player out. Or if you're going with Tyson Barrie in there for the Anaheim Ducks, you're suddenly talking about freeing up a ton of salary cap if you're the Edmonton Oilers. Getting retention, obviously, on Klingberg. That's something we continue to go back to. For Jakub Chychrun, I think you can trade Puljujarvi and Tyson Barrie, do the exact same thing, get salary cap space freed up by sending players to the Arizona Coyotes, and then simply put, you end up really gaining space on this team because now you got salary cap space, you can make another move, and away you go. And especially you aren't too hooped when Evander Kane comes back either. You can run a full 23-man roster and probably change out a forward or 2 up front. So that's where the big help is for this Edmonton Oilers team, is this huge trade that's coming in a matter of days or weeks or whatever it's going to be, right? It could still be a week or 2 away, depending on how much Ken Holland wants to pit the bidding market for John Klingberg against the other 3 guys. But when you look at it realistically, is this move is going to be made no matter what. And I don't think, as much as the Oilers might think they can wait till the trade deadline, I don't think us, the fans, can wait. And I think there will be something to be said for the media pressuring the Oilers into a trade as well. I know that's not how it works, but if you understand where I'm going with that, is it's just going to be one of these things that's going to self-create. The Oilers are going to have to make the move, and it's not like they're making a panic move either. That's the silly part about this, is for the Oilers choosing between trading for one of these 4 guys, because we have hashed it out so much this season with these 4 guys, it's not a panic move if the Oilers trade for these 4 guys. It's a panic move if the Oilers trade for somebody not named one of these 4 guys. So that's the scary part there, I guess, if the Oilers go off the board. But in terms of things right now, if you just go out there and trade a little bit of a package for any of these 4 guys, you are good to go. And the problem is, I think for Oilers fans, what would scare you is, yes, we've said we're all in. Yes, we've talked about trading the 1st round pick for one of these guys. Problem is, I don't think any of us are quite comfortable doing it, knowing what else we have to trade to make this trade work, right? If you're giving up a 1st round pick in Tyson Barrie for John Klingberg, or 1st round pick Tyson Barrie and a prospect for Jakub Chychrun, I mean, you're spending too much in my opinion. But again, that said, the cost of winning is always high at the NHL level. And when you think about the Tampa Bay Lightning, who was it? Was it Brandon Hagel, or was it Barclay Goodrow that they paid a 1st round draft pick for? Right? Like that, those are not guys you pay 1st rounders for, and Tampa Bay did it and has been to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 of the past 3 years. So yeah, it's one of those things, right? Is if you want to compete with the big boys, you got to get comfortable spending like the big boys, and you got to hope it works out. And for the Oilers, that's kind of the problem we always have, is it doesn't tend to work out. But friends, as we get closer to this trade freeze coming due at midnight tomorrow, well, not midnight tomorrow, I guess midnight on the 28th. So late night tomorrow before we all go back to work. The real question is, ask yourself, how comfortable are you spending big dollars to make big dollar impact on this Edmonton Oilers team? Because if you are, you're a big-time Jakub Chychrun fan here in a couple of days or weeks. My friends, I'm Tyson. This is Stolany TV. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion, because really that's all it is just discussion, talking back on topics we've already discussed a million times over. But simply put, we have to get it through because we're coming back to this whole phase of this next part of the Edmonton Oilers season. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.